Could we be working with convicted murderers, rapists, and sex groomers? Is it possible that paedophiles released from prison can be given internet-enabled devices? GB News has heard allegations from a former civil servant at the Department for Work and Pensions that a system in job centres designed to help former prisoners get back into work is not only flawed, but putting the public and even victims of their crimes at risk. I met with Mark, not his real name, who joined the Oxford Job Centre in April 2021 and took on responsibilities for handling ex-prisoners.
There was absolutely no support, no handover, no specialist training. I would be supporting sexual offenders, violent offenders, stranger rapists.
When working with ex-prisoners, DWP civil servants should process intelligence called Multi-Agency Public Protection Arrangements, or MAPA, that detail their restrictions in work and training. Mark alleged that this information was often missing.
I later learned of a universal credit claimant I was interviewing. He had MAPA conditions due to the fact he was a sexual offender, but there was no MAPA intelligence or safeguarding measures pinned to his digital account. I contacted the MAPA lead for the office, and the response that I got back was, if we don't have the MAPA intelligence from the National Probation Service, we do not chase it. That is not our job. And at that point, I realised we have a huge problem.
Mark also claims that there were problems in storing and reviewing information about ex-prisoners.
All the physical MAPA-J documentation is stored under lock and key in a cabinet. When I first accessed that folder, I was absolutely appalled. Clearly hadn't been reviewed for over 10 years. There was over 20 MAPA-J documents in that folder where court order restrictions had expired years prior to me accessing that folder.
After an incident where a convicted paedophile was allegedly given a smartphone against his restrictions, Mark notified the office that they had a big problem.
Did we have sexual offenders, stranger rapists, applying for work, applying for training opportunities that still had MAPA-J restrictions in place, court order restrictions? We just didn't know. It was impossible to ascertain.
A senior manager wrote back to say, "You have identified a massive risk for both this case and wider." But Mark alleged that nothing was done. No safeguarding measures were put in place, and more incidents occurred. GB News has heard compelling testimony about other incidents where the DWP allegedly failed to observe restrictions applied to ex-prisoners. In one case, the Oxford Job Centre offered work to a notorious paedophile. He had already been given a laptop with internet access. This man, who we cannot name for legal reasons, preyed on vulnerable young girls in one of Britain's worst grooming gang scandals. Mark said that he kept reporting these alleged failures, but was not listened to.
My caseload was a minefield, an absolute minefield. I had no support in this matter. No one was taking it seriously.
With the strain of working with ex-prisoners and what he said was a failure to react to his concerns, Mark had a total breakdown and has been hospitalised regularly since.
You lose composure and rationality. My role was my tool to keep people safe. You take the role away, you still have the concerns, and the public is still at risk, but you can't do anything about it. You've been silenced by the very people that are supposed to be supporting you.